I hope you weren't expecting a winter look because that's not what you're getting today. Today is a wrath look. This is one of the 7 deadly sins. It's in collaboration with a few people on Instagram. I'll make sure I list them down below. Go check them out. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm not going too crazy on the concealer today since most of it's going to be covered by makeup anyways, so I'm just going to put on a little concealer around my eyes to help my cheekbones stand out a bit more before moving into the makeup. I'm starting with Slowburn from my electric palette to outline my skull. I always start my skull look starting with my cheekbones and then completing my teeth since I find the teeth the hardest bit to do, so it's best to get them out of the way first. I drop in my normal cheekbone area and then I do a secondary line that connects to the front of my teeth. This is going to help me give the illusion of the teeth recessing back. I'm now switching to Salazen Grum from my Alice palette. This is also an Urban Decay palette. I'm now starting on the teeth. First, I like to drop in a little bit of a line. This is where I can tell where my teeth are going to go and what shape I'm aiming for, and then I turn them into little triangles. Now that I got my little triangles in, I'm going to start pulling those lines up because this is where your teeth go up into your jaw. So just go ahead and put a little bit of shading, pulling them up and curving some out near the edges to your cheekbones. I'm now using Blackout from an Urban Decay palette as well. It's just a nice jet black, so use it lightly because a little goes a long way. And I'm just adding some deeper recesses. This is going to be a lot easier to watch than for me to try to explain. Now that I got my top teeth in a good spot, I'm going to put in my lower jaw. I'm just making a little connection to that open space and filling it in with red. Just like with above, we're going to shade in with some black. I'm also using really sharp angles down here as I want my jaw to look a little more sharp and angular since for wrath, we're going to be a little more intimidating, right? Because that's a word no one has described me with ever. So anyways, I'm also cleaning up those edges with some concealer since I wanted them to be nice and sharp. Now I'm throwing in my lower teeth. I'm doing it the same way I did above. To get some nice crisp lines again, I'm going in with some concealer on my lower teeth to fill them in to give them a little bit of a pop. Whew, the hardest part of the makeup is done. So now I'm going to throw in my jawline and fill that in with the red first and then go around the edges near the top with black. Now follow the same steps on the other side. We're now going to add some interesting shading. I'm taking both of those reds and adding them around my face to help give the skull a natural curve, and plus it just makes it look badass. Now moving on upward, I'm just throwing in my temples the same way I hollowed out the cheeks. I'm putting down the line first, putting in the red, and then outlining the edges with black. Taking a nice fluffy brush, I'm throwing down some red onto my forehead to give myself a nice furrow, and then making sure I go in a little bit later with some darker colors to emphasize those. But first I want to jump down to the eyes for a minute. I'm doing a really nice glamorous look like I did with my Gluttony makeup. I'll make sure I link that somewhere. And then I'm just going to go in with that red and really darken the furrow of my inner brow. This is going to give a nice menacing appearance, and then I'm going to go through all of those areas again with the black. With the smallest amount of black, I'm putting that into the forehead and making sure to really blend that out as I don't want a super harsh line up there. I'm then taking black and putting in my eyebrows and making sure to make them very angular. I'm now going to pop on my nose. I'm first taking red over the edge and then pulling 2 lines straight up from there before going around the edges with black. And like I've done everywhere else on the skull, I'm putting on those accent lines around the edges. The black was looking a little harsh to me right now, so I took that deep red and went over the edges to kind of mute it down a bit. I'm keeping the eyes super simple in this look again. I'm taking that red and putting it into the outer corners before I draw it up into my temples a little bit later, and then putting a nice white over the lids to keep it nice and clean like my skin tone before throwing on some eyeliner and mascara. And this is where I've decided if I made a mistake or not, but I think it worked. And then I'm darkening that up with a little bit of black before putting red down my neck. To add a little bit of glam, I'm then taking some eyelash glue and sticking down some black beads around my face. With that final bead applied, the look is now done! I really hope you enjoyed this wrap look, and I hope to see you back here for more 7 Deadly Sins.